me go ahead and get things started this morning. Thank you for joining us for our monthly Engage with DOLA webinar. My name is Eugene Howard. I'm going to do introductions here in a second, but just really grateful to have everyone present today. So again, my name is Eugene Howard. I'm the Technical Assistant Unit Manager. I'm joined by my colleagues, Ashley Basham, Hannah Van Nimwegen, and Mark Williams. And we've got Nathan on the slide, but he is here in case we've got any specific questions for him today. So just as a reminder, we do this every month to share with you all the overall format of this webinar. We have created this webinar, this opportunity to share information with you all, hear information back from you. And so we use this as an opportunity to give general updates and program reminders. We will be talking a lot today about the transit-oriented communities, and we've got some key milestones coming up here in the next couple of business days. We cover parking, accessory dwelling units, housing planning, and ways to mitigate and address displacement. We will also talk a bit about neighborhood centers and our strategic growth planning. And then, of course, share how we want to work with you all in making this work possible through providing grants. We always like to record these sessions, so you may have heard that at the beginning of this meeting, because really we want to make sure that this information's not only shared today, but made available for anyone who's unable to join us today, or as a reference for anything that you want to follow up on or revisit that's a part of this webinar. We really appreciate and have really learned a great deal from so many of you by the questions that you submit to us, the opportunities to engage with you, to talk through certain aspects of our work. So really, we appreciate that. And we've got some statistics that we want to share with you here in a few minutes. But we make sure that this information, not only this recording and the things that you'll hear in today's webinar, but all the resources that we produce to help support implementation can be found on our DOLA land use and housing web pages. We will continue to always update our frequently asked questions, which you can find there. You can find information around our guidance and the different tools that we've prepared for you as resources. So we do encourage you to bookmark the site and come back regularly because we are constantly updating and providing new information and really want to make sure that you all are aware when those things occur. So we encourage you to visit and, of course, reach out to us if you have any questions. So last month we had a pretty full agenda. I won't read through everything here that you'll see, but for those who maybe weren't able to join us last month, this gives you a sense of what was covered during our May webinar. We talked a lot about the updates that were coming. We talked about some of the tools and resources to help with this upcoming milestone on Monday. Hannah did a great job sharing information around how to become a supportive jurisdiction. Mark, of course, covered where we are in our housing planning work and the products being produced to assist you all. We gave an update on neighborhood centers and our strategic growth work. And Mitch and Ashley then shared a great deal of helpful resources related to the grants programs that they are standing up. And so for this month, we want to continue sharing information. In a moment, Robin is going to join us to share how some of the fast-track incentive funding could be leveraged to be used in the implementation of our land use work. We want to share latest resources that are available, again, as an assistance to you all. And we really want to make sure that everyone is aware of our 5-year planning survey that gets conducted by the state. It's really a great opportunity to hear from you all, to learn again what's going on in your local communities, and to work with you to help set priorities that we can help support and facilitate what's needed in your local community. I'll provide a few quick updates on the transit-oriented communities, and Hannah will give us updates on parking and ADUs. Mark is here today to talk about where things are with our housing planning work. Hannah will give a quick update on neighborhood centers and strategic growth, which is advancing pretty nicely. and Ashley is here to share more exciting news on the grant front. So we've got another full agenda slated for us today. So with that, I'm going to ask Robin to join us and to share a little bit about the fast track incentive funding and how that can be leveraged for our land use and housing planning work. So thank you, Robin, for joining us.
Thanks, Eugene. Earlier this spring, couple months ago, DOLA announced that local governments who adopt the Prop 123 fast track requirements early would be eligible for $50,000 of incentive funding with no local match required. And there's been a lot of enthusiasm since that announcement. So we wanted to highlight some uses for this planning money, this incentive funding, that can support your jurisdiction's efforts to implement all these other housing and land use laws that we're talking about in today's webinar. This funding is pretty flexible as long as it's being used for land use and planning projects that support housing affordability in your community. So, for example, funds can be used for implementing ADU strategies or displacement mitigation strategies, implementing housing action plans. So while you would want to talk to Ashley Basham about the housing planning grant program to write your housing action plan, after you got a plan, you want to implement. And this incentive funding could help you with that. Calculating or implementing your housing opportunity goals or designating neighborhood centers, updating your land use codes to address parking minimums or occupancy limits, or other laws out there, such as establishing tax credits or rebates to incentivize affordable housing development in your community. Senate Bill 24-002 does that. Or, for example, in the latest legislative session, amending building codes to allow single-stair multifamily residential buildings. So lots of flexibility. I will put the link to more info in the chat, as well as my contact information. Please reach out to me if you would like to learn more. Thanks. Back to you, Eugene.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Robin. This is really great news. I know earlier this week, a few of us were talking with the local government and they brought this up and were really interested. So, for those of you who might be learning about this for the first time today, we really do encourage you to consider how this might be an advantage for you and to reach out to Robin if you have any additional questions. So, thank you very much, Robin, for that. Another thing we wanted to make sure that you all were aware of is our local impact accelerator program. This program is launched. We are asking for letters of interest by August 1st, so got a little bit of time on that. This is a $50 million grant program that can fund a variety of different planning activities. So definitely want to make sure that folks are aware of this opportunity and to, again, reach out if you have questions related to that. We'd love to work with you all and see how we can put this program to good use in your community. So definitely reach out and ask us for more information. We also wanted to remind folks that we've got this community-driven engagement guide, this really helpful resource available online. Many of you engage with communities through the work that you do, and I'm sure got some great practices that you do at the local level. And so this is really just meant as a clearinghouse of additional information and resources. So if you're a community that maybe doesn't get out very often because you've got a pretty well-run machine, but would like to know if there are new techniques out there to consider, come check out what we've got here available. And if you do check out our page and you don't see something listed that is working really well in your community, we would love to hear about it. So we, again, learn as much from you as we try to share. So, always willing to have conversations about what's working in your local community so that we can make that information available for others who might be able to use it in their neck of the woods. So, who doesn't like free things? And who doesn't like getting their APA dues paid for? Well, if you are one or both of those people, we really encourage you to fill out the 5-year land use survey that's been out for a few weeks. We are planning through our great partnership with APA Colorado to offer free membership to the lucky recipient who has filled out their survey and as a result become eligible for this incentive giveaway. So if you haven't seen the link to the survey or you're wondering about it, definitely reach out to us. We want to make sure that you have an opportunity to share with us and provide us with input and feedback. Again, what's going on in your community. And the only way that we can really do that well is from hearing from you. So not only would you be helping us out, but many of you have been helping us out since 1976. It's a great way for us to, again, understand the needs, the trends, hot button issues that are going on, and of course, the success stories, so that we can capture those success stories and look for ways to modify them and replicate them in other parts of the state. So we cannot do this work without you. And our partners at APA Colorado also see the value in this survey, and as a result, are wanting to encourage you all to fill it out and by offering this free membership. So don't delay. Go and fill out your survey. We've extended the time to July 11th, so you've got couple more weeks there. So we really want to see those numbers get as close to 100% return as possible. So help us make a new record in 2025. Fill out the survey and get your APA dues covered if you are the lucky winner of our raffle. All right. So many of you who have joined us are aware of the land use bills that are now laws that we are working to implement. Again, you'll see these here for those that are viewing online. Our residential occupancy limits, minimum parking requirements. Again, looking for ways to help promote and support accessory dwelling units in more places around the state, investing in the planning work around our transit investments, so transit-oriented communities. And of course, the biggest thing that faces so many communities, and that's affordable housing. And so really working with all of you to create these plans, really understand what's going on in your communities so that we can look for ways to assist and really tackle this national challenge that so many states and cities across the United States are facing around affordable housing and good housing choices so that people can find the right solution for housing that meets their needs. We've also got some new bills that were passed this year in 2025. We mentioned these last month at our webinar. We are still putting together some guides and resources, ways to understand what's involved with these new laws. So again, we've got some exciting things to consider around new growth limits, the regional planning roundtables, again, another way for us to learn from each other, those best practices, thinking about residential building stair modernization so that those oddly shaped parcels that exist in many of our communities, let's see if we can't put them to higher and greater use, and really in the housing realm. So right now, there's limitations on how those smaller parcels can be used, and we're really hoping that this approach to housing can bring those small parcels back in play for us. And then regional building codes, thinking about other tools in our toolbox, and the modernization of factory-built structures has just really been so incredibly impressive, a lot like with technology. And so let's talk about how we can leverage our factory-built community to, again, add to the housing supply and to provide more choice, ideally at more affordable price points, so that we can start really making meaningful progress in addressing our affordable housing needs here in the state of Colorado. So hopefully, you've had a chance to visit our land use and housing website. On that, you will find the multi-law applicability resource. So again, if you're relatively new, or maybe you're a new addition to your local planning team and you want to understand a little bit more about which laws apply where, this is a great first step in understanding exactly what laws pertain in your community and what the optional opportunities are. So even if you're not necessarily a subject jurisdiction, but are really interested, for example, in allowing ADUs in your community, There are optional pathways to work with us in the land use realm. So just really encourage folks to bookmark this resource, share it with others as needed. We've got an interactive map and a downloadable spreadsheet as well. So different ways for people to use the information that we've got available here. So come and join us and see what we can do to support you. I've mentioned our webpage a few times. If you haven't visited in the last few weeks or a couple of months, we've moved things around to try to consolidate information, make it a little bit easier to find and access. So this is just a friendly reminder for those who, again, maybe don't visit us regularly, that this is a great tool, lots and lots of resources available, and just really ask you to bookmark it and to periodically check in. We've got things organized by the laws to hopefully make it easier to find information quickly. Again, this is where you'll find our tools, our FAQs, our guidance documents, and other materials. Past webinar recordings are available there. And this is also a great way to reach out to us if you don't know how to do that already. So we answer questions on a routine basis from community members and planning staff. And so reach out to us. We'll do one-on-ones. We can do small group meetings, whatever is needed to support you. Just let us know and we'll make it happen. Uh, we use our website really as a way and have had so much good success in getting things produced and made available through our engagement with you all. And so we've got a local government advisory group that's really provided us with some great information. We meet with individuals as we are developing tools and resources to make sure that we are thinking through all the ways that those tools can be helpful to you all. And we do that through sort of like focus groups, smaller groups that advise and guide us. Again, we learn a lot through our technical assistance. We have done and often provide information for presentations. So if you're preparing to speak to your city council or town council and we really want to make sure that you've got messaging on point, reach out to us. We can either provide information, and we're even developing some useful sort of general PowerPoint templates that we hope to get out and made available to you here soon. But in the meantime, reach out to us. We can help you in the preparation of any presentations that you're all looking to make, or invite us to come and give presentations on your behalf. And then, of course, our ongoing web presence and ways to reach out and get information that way. And so, speaking of technical assistance, we wanted just to kind of give you a snapshot of how that's been going over the last few months because we're getting pretty close to our 1 year anniversary with our 2024 work. And so we thought it would be good to sort of look back, particularly as we get into the next few weeks where we anticipate working with many of you. So we've had 132 direct meetings with individuals and planning staff. So that's been really exciting, and we really thank you for reaching out to us and letting us work with you. We've answered almost 200 questions. I think there's probably a couple waiting for me now, so we might be getting close to that 200 mark. We've given or provided information and resources for over 50 presentations and have about 75 tools and different resources that we've produced and made available over the course of this last 10 months or so. So we do a lot of courtesy reviews. So as you all are working on things, redlining code, for example, or preparing new material, and before you go, and present that, you want to maybe double check it, sort of, get a second pair of eyes on that work. We've been doing that, almost 60. So Hannah and Mark and others on our team have just been a great uh, resource for that work, looking at things in advance. So never hesitate to reach out and ask us to take a look at something if you're in the middle of producing, updates or whatnot, because we really want to help you be successful in the implementation realm. And so help us help you. And I also want to just make a moment here to thank all of you who have reached out to us. We are here to provide our help and support. That's our role, one of our roles here. But we cannot do that without the time that you all invest with us. So behind all of these numbers and statistics are staff members who have been doing the work, really trying to get into the details of how to leverage and make good use of these laws in their communities. And we know that a lot of this has been in addition to your day to day. And so we recognize that we are trying to make this work easy. And we just really appreciate the time and attention that you all have given us as we all work in concert together on these important issues. Leaning into and speaking to providing information. We've got some fact sheets that we've made available, and this is just an example of what our TOC, Transit Oriented Communities fact sheet looks like. It's really meant to be an at a glance kind of resource. So again, whether it's for you yourself or you want to pull this down from our website and have it handy to answer quick questions with your elected officials or other members within your local governments, we really encourage you to look at these resources, pull them down. If they prompt other questions, of course, reach out to us. If you see that there are ways that maybe we could add a bit more information to this to make it even more useful, let us know. These are always living and ever evolving documents and tools. So again, we learn best when we hear from you and we can make those adjustments as needed. So this tool and for the different laws are out there and available. We've got the URL on the screen. These slides will go out afterwards, so you'll be able to grab the link to the resources once we get the email sent out to you. So just know that this is here and available to you, and we really hope that you find good value in it. And with that, that concludes the sort of key updates, general updates that we wanted to make today. Now I'm going to lean into our transit-oriented communities work. So again, here's a quick overview of our 2025 calendar. We're smack dab in the middle of the year. I can't believe that we're already in June. Oh, I don't even want to think about Christmas music just yet, but it's coming. And in addition to Christmas coming, the next big milestone is right before us on Monday. So on Monday, with the transit-oriented communities work, we are asking subject communities to share with us sort of the work in progress related to your housing opportunity goal calculations. This is just a preliminary ask of communities to share with us kind of where you are in understanding and working with and the implementation of transit-oriented communities. The first step is understanding the opportunities around the transit areas in your communities for housing. So it is the first of a several step process. I think most of you probably know that. And here it is. It's right before us. It's finally arrived on Monday, June 30th. So this is that sort of check-in moment over the once we start receiving and getting your submissions on this preliminary reporting. Kyle and others within our team will be reviewing that over the coming months, providing, input, maybe some feedback, comments here and there. I'm assuming really great success, so maybe we won't have many comments to share back. But do know that this is just a first check-in point. It's an important one. So we do ask that you do share and submit through our portal on or before the 30th so that we can begin that dialogue and begin those conversations with each of you. But know that we've got some time to kind of really work things through. And this is just that key milestone of, if you will, turn in your homework so that we can begin checking it out and having those conversations. And where and how do you do that? And that is through our implementation portal. So on the right, for those again who are seeing the presentation, is an example of what the web page looks like. On the left is the URL to get there. Hopefully you all have had a chance to visit the site and register your county or city government issued email address. That is a requirement for the portal. We are currently not accepting like more personal email addresses, so make sure that you have your city county, town email when you register. And it's a really simple registration process. Last month we went over all the different screens and how that works. So ask you to look at that webinar if you haven't seen it already. But it's really simple. It's a two-step authentication process. So for those that have registered, to get access to the portal, you simply visit the site, you put in your email address, and you will be emailed a code personalized to you that then you enter in on the very next screen at the portal, and that gives you access. And once you've logged in successfully, you'll be presented with the items that we understand are uh, for your community to complete. So if you have any questions, again, please reach out to us. We really do hope that everyone has had a chance to at least log in once or twice to see what's in there. We've used a lot of our existing resources and past contacts with you all to set folks up in the portal. So we hopefully everybody's all registered and ready to go. But just wanted to make sure that you knew that this is up and running and ready for you all for those that are reporting by Monday. And to help you with reporting, if you are just kind of getting started, or maybe you want to kind of check a couple of things before you start submitting information, definitely check out our guidance. We've got a lot of guidance and documents and resources and materials that we've posted. The FAQs may be helpful to see if you have a question that maybe has been answered previously. We've got our housing opportunity goal calculation tool out there. We've got parcel layer information that we've prepared so that this could help sort of give you a head start. We've got our transit center calculation model, which is a part of these ongoing steps in this process. And again, we're happy to review things. Now we're at the point where we probably can't review it before Monday, given that today is Friday. But as I mentioned a moment ago, reporting and submitting the information that you do have is really the first step in starting the conversation. And we'll have a good, a series of months to work with local governments before we hit the final report, which is December 31st of 2026. So we've got plenty of time to work with you all. So don't feel too much pressure. Please don't worry if you're not certain if you got everything just the way you wanted it. We will have time to work with you to get there. So if you have questions between now and Monday and you just maybe have something quick, Kyle Soner is a great person to reach out to. His email address is on the slide, kyle.soner@state.co.us. We'll be working a lot with Kyle over the next few weeks, but just really encourage you all to share, submit in this preliminary point so that, again, we can start those conversations with you all. More tools and resources available. So in addition to the standard preliminary report material, we've got our assessment report form in the portal. We've got ways for you to identify and share with us if you've discovered other exempt parcels as you go through preparing your housing opportunity goal figures. And also, if you're a community that is challenged by scarce water or limited water resources, there's a way for you to share that with us so that we can use that in the calculation and calibration of your housing opportunity goal figure. So we've got other forms that are in the works, again, to help with the dialogue and to make sure that we are working with you at that local level to really truly understand what is existing in your community and that we can have our tools reflect your local needs and your local conditions. So work with us if you need to. These tools are out there to help support us all in this effort. So take advantage of them and reach out if you have questions. And just note, I think I've made this, stated this, but this is that sort of first step in a multi-step process. And as the last line on the slide says here, we really won't be getting to the final deliverables, sort of those firm numbers for another several months. So this is, again, an opportunity to check in and work with you all and continue to refine this process. So thank you for that. And with that, I'm going to catch my breath and turn things over to Hannah. So thank you all for listening. I know that was a lot of information. We will be sharing this information back out after the call today. So hopefully this gives you some sense of what's available to you, the upcoming deadline with TOC, and to not worry that we've got plenty of time to continue the dialogue with each of you. So I'm going to stop talking and turn things over to Hannah. And I just want to say thanks.
Great. Thank you, Eugene. I'm here to talk about minimum parking requirements and then after that, accessory dwelling units. Next slide. So I know folks who have been on these webinars before, if we could go back, have seen the timeline. And I just wanted to remind everyone that the compliance deadline is June 30th, which is Monday already. I know we're all shocked by that, as Eugene was mentioning. And what's important here is that the Part 1304 does not come with a mandatory reporting requirement unless you use the exception written into the law. And that is not due until December 31st of 2026. So this one, you don't have any mandated reporting coming up on Monday. Next slide. Here's some resources if you're interested in learning a little bit more about the law, but also different ways to implement parking management best practices. The parking minimums webpage does contain what areas within a jurisdiction is subject to the law, what we call applicable transit service areas. And we did include methodology, shapefiles, and data on how that map was produced. Also, there is a form and manner for the exemption. So if you anticipate using that exemption, definitely take a look at that form on the website. Also, if you're planning on using that exemption, what will be really helpful is the Parking Management Best Practices Report. That was published earlier this year and contains, as it describes, best practices on how to implement some of these new strategies that are becoming more and more popular. Also, we did do a webinar back in April, I believe, and the recording and slides have been posted. Next slide. Any assistance, or this is the assistance that's available. We are always offering courtesy reviews. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you're unsure about any language that you're proposing regarding a code amendment, or if you just have questions, you can email me directly. We also do have the DOLA template land development code if you're looking at not only this potential code amendment, but any others related to, or anything that you might find in a zoning code, you will find in this template land development code. And any other technical assistance, again, you can email Eugene or I, but we also have the DOLA engagement opportunities webpage. Next slide. All right, moving on to ADUs. Next slide. This is a timeline of what we're looking at. Again, the key date here is that the ADU compliance date is coming up on Monday. I know that seems a little scary, but with the in that portal that Eugene was pointing out, there are 3 forms that that are applicable to ADUs. The first being the ADU compliance report, the second being the ADU extension, and the third being the ADU supportive jurisdiction. If you're not sure, if you're a subject jurisdiction and you're not sure which to apply for, please email me or call me. If you're wanting to opt in order to be eligible for the grant program, we can also have a meeting to discuss that, but the next few slides will dive into that in more detail. Next slide. So, as I was mentioning, if you're interested in the ADU grant program, in order to be eligible for that program, you have to become an ADU supportive jurisdiction. And I know that can get a little confusing with the other term being an ADU or being a subject jurisdiction, but a supportive jurisdiction is not mandated. So a supportive jurisdiction may be any jurisdiction, whether they're subject to the law or if they voluntarily comply, who is also eligible for the grant funding opportunities in 1152. So in order to become a supportive jurisdiction, an ADU compliance report must be submitted through the portal. Again, for subject jurisdictions, that's due on Monday. But if you are not a subject jurisdiction, then you may proceed at your own pace in submitting that compliance report. From there, you will submit the optional ADU supportive jurisdiction form through that same portal. And in that form, they will ask, or the portal will ask for documentation showing that one of the 9 supportive strategies outlined in the law has been implemented. If we can go to the next slide, these are the 9 strategies that are outlined in the law. I don't expect you to commit this to memory. We do have guidance posted on our website that details these, including benefits, potential pitfalls, some advice to maybe avoid those pitfalls, as well as some case studies. And the 10th option being any strategy that helps support the construction of ADUs that isn't listed above. So it's kind of a customized option for a local jurisdiction that might have unique contexts. Next slide. The third step that you will encounter is after submitting those reports, we will review and get you a response within 90 days, either approving that request or requesting additional information. Once approved, once you're certified as an ADU subject or an ADU supportive jurisdiction, then you are eligible for the ADU grant program. I also wanted to highlight that even if a jurisdiction isn't particularly interested in the ADU grant program, there is still a benefit to becoming a supportive jurisdiction. That being the second component or the second funding opportunity created by 1152 is through the Colorado Housing and Finance Authority, and that's direct to homeowners. So if a jurisdiction becomes an ADU supportive jurisdiction, then their homeowners are also eligible for ADU related funding and funding through CHFA. Their program guidelines, we believe, are going to be posted later this year, but please don't hesitate to reach out to me if you have any questions. Next slide. Again, like I mentioned, the supportive strategy guidance has been posted to the ADU webpage that provides a deep dive into those supportive strategies and different ways that they can be implemented. And it may be used as guidance, but also as a starting place to pull language for presentations and things like that. Next slide. If you are looking for assistance with amending your code, again, please always check the DOLA template land development code. It is a huge resource for any type of zoning code amendment, but also check the ADU webpage where we have reporting instructions. We have instructions on becoming an ADU supportive jurisdiction, the supportive strategies I outlined, and we have additional code amendment examples. Like I mentioned with parking, we are offering courtesy reviews. If you're looking at, or if you just want to double check that any proposed changes to your code are compliant, please don't hesitate to email me. I can usually turn around a review within a week or two. You may also submit a request for, or any questions or requests for a meeting through DOLA's engagement opportunities webpage. We did also host or I shouldn't say host, we hosted it with the Department of Regulatory Agencies, but we did present an HOA focus webinar. The recording and slides have also been posted. If you're getting questions from a particular HOA or any HOAs in your jurisdiction, this would be a really good resource to point them towards. Last but definitely not least is the ADU toolkit. The toolkit is really going to be an expansion of those supportive strategies. It will provide even more in-depth guidance, ideas, templates, other tools, and highlights a few Colorado community case studies that have implemented new ADU programs and seen success. So please keep an eye out for that. Next slide. And with that, I'll turn it over to my colleague, Mark Williams. Thank you.
Thanks, Hannah. Good morning, everybody. So if we go to the next slide, thanks. So this is a timeline for a lot of the items in 174. These are all timelines for information for local governments to use, so no production deadlines right now. We are still reviewing housing needs assessments. We've had a few that have been approved. All the ones that were done before the end of last year have been reviewed and given back to the governments who submitted them so they can make sure that they can resubmit those back to us. And the rest of these rows are all about documents that are going to be up on our website next week or soon thereafter. So this includes actually the first one is still under development, and that's the guidance for a new comprehensive plan requirements, including strategic growth report. So that's a little bit later, but these other ones are going up soon. Displacement risk assessment guidance is something that was on our website in a preliminary form by the end of last year. We're currently reviewing that, and that should be up in July. And so next time we have this meeting, I'll have a different calendar so we can see when all these are going to be available or if they're not already. One thing that had a statutory deadline was the displacement risk mitigation regional resources study. That will be up on our website on Monday. This is especially related to 1313, House Bill 1313. And then another new document will be the affordability strategies and displacement mitigation strategies. So this is actually 3 sections of SB 24174. It includes long-term and standard affordability strategies, as well as the displacement risk mitigation strategies. So these are things that as you develop your housing action plans, or even you're developing your housing needs assessments, you'll be able to refer to these documents, which will be up by Monday, and have a more in-depth understanding of how to flesh out some of those actions and policies. We have something on our website right now, but this really adds a lot more depth to what we have listed right now. And a word about that also, if you've been to our website lately and looked under the housing planning links under technical assistance, at the bottom of that page where we have all of these resource documents linked, there's a lot going on there right now, and we're about to put more in there. So I think what we're going to do, we'll have all the new documents that you need to see up there. We'll archive the older ones, but there'll just be a link to the archive. We don't want to pull the rug out from anyone who's currently working on the housing needs assessment or other actions when they're using the documents that are up there. So in case you need to refer back to them, it'll still be easy to find, but we just want to clean up that part of the page. All right, next slide. So just a couple things I like to remind every time. Housing needs assessments are due the end of next year, 2026, and make sure that you have a public meeting. That's the only requirement for public engagement really in for HNAs in 174 is to have that public meeting. But make sure that when you do that, to send any public comments that you get along to us as well when you submit your housing needs assessment. And we still got 4 housing needs assessments approved. So the big change is housing action plans. That guidance will also be produced and available on our website starting on Monday. And we're going to have a webinar dedicated solely to housing action plans on July the 31st at 10:30. So this is the next step in the housing planning process. The housing needs assessments were designed to lay the framework for developing all the policies and procedures that are going to be in the housing action plans. And so we'll really go through that in depth about a month from now. And oh yeah, I skipped over the first bullet. So the housing action plans, you've got some time there. They're not due for about 2.5 years. And just one quirk or nuance in the legislation, public meetings for housing needs assessments, but public hearings for housing action plans. So make sure you make a note of that. I also want to thank everybody who's on this call who helped us develop our housing planning guidance and displacement risk guidance. We reached out and were involved in a lot of public meetings, and we really couldn't have done the work that we did without the involvement of all the local governments around the state of Colorado. There's a lot of expertise and really smart people out there. And so, thanks to you, this product hopefully is better than it would have been with your input. And then Eugene mentioned this earlier. The portal is open. I just wanted to add that a lot of our HNA submittals are not going to be from local governments or county governments. They're going to be from more quasi-judicial, or sorry, quasi-governmental agencies like housing authorities or councils of government, council of governments, whatever the plural of that is, COGS. If that's fine, you'll still be able to register if you're submitting on behalf of governments within your region, and we'll make sure that there's an option there for you as we're updating and implementing all these new tools. So the submittal portal is, I think that's already been linked earlier in our presentation. So with that, I think I hand it back to Hannah for neighborhood centers.
Yes, thanks, Mark. It's me again. I'm here to give a brief overview of neighborhood centers and strategic growth and some updates on the state reports. Next slide. So just a very quick overview on this concept. Neighborhood center may currently exist or maybe areas that anticipate becoming mixed use and pedestrian oriented over time through plans and policies. This aspect of both SB 24-174 as well as HB 24-1313 is the creation of neighborhood centers as a voluntary method for local governments to designate areas within their jurisdiction that certain state agencies will consider in their funding prioritization criteria. The goal of a neighborhood center is to provide coordinated investments to achieve built environments with access to jobs, services, and transit. If you want to learn more about neighborhood centers, there was a deeper dive presentation in the December 2024 monthly webinar, which can be found on their engagement opportunities webpage. Next slide. There are 3 steps to implementing the neighborhood center concept. The first being DOLA setting criteria that's due June of this year, so this month. And we're looking at different typologies. The neighborhood centers that may already be existing, think of your typical downtowns, neighborhood centers that are evolving, and future neighborhood centers, ones that don't exist and are in greenfield areas of a government's jurisdiction. The second step is local governments identifying neighborhood center locations within those contexts. And the third being state agencies updating the grant criteria or grant award criteria by December of next year. Next slide. So we are getting ready to launch the pilot round of the neighborhood center program. We are publishing guidance on June 30th, and that will be on the Neighborhood Center's webpage. We are currently seeking 9 to 12 jurisdictions that have existing neighborhood centers or potential neighborhood centers for the pilot. Specifically, we're looking for jurisdictions that are not subject to 1313 purely for this pilot designation round. Future rounds, we would be opening it up to those other contexts. We anticipate accepting designations for the pilot through October of this year. So why participate in the pilot round? It's really an opportunity for communities to assist the state in refining the neighborhood center criteria to ensure that it's responsive to local and regional contexts. And we will use the pilot round to help inform criteria and refine criteria for evolving in future neighborhood centers. Next slide. So please check out that posted guidance. And here's a couple updates on various reports. We did release the first draft for public comment on the statewide strategic growth report, which is linked. We are seeking public comment through July 31st. We also held a webinar with the Rocky Mountain Land Use Institute on June 24th, and the recording will get posted soon. Next slide. Next, there's no major updates on the Natural Land and Agricultural Opportunities Report. They are still working on analysis and report compilation at this time. Next slide. And with that, I'll turn it over to my colleague, Ashley.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Hannah. We can go ahead and go on to the next slide. So for the Housing Planning Grant Program, or HPLN, we just finished and wrapped up round 1 of our funding cycle. So we approximately awarded about $900,000 to 11 different projects, which represented a total of 23 jurisdictions because there were 6 multi-jurisdictional applications that were received. This included both jurisdictions, local governments, and regional entities as applicants. Round 2 is currently open now, and it will remain open through July 11th at 5 p.m. So applications can be submitted through the DLG grants portal anytime before July 11th at 5 p.m. If you have any questions about the grant program itself, if you want to chat about what is eligible through the grant program, please let me know. You can drop your questions in the chat here. I'll remain on the webinar until afterward if you want to ask me a question personally. We are also available to meet one-on-one. We can talk with you about what the application entails. We could also discuss the completeness of the application, things of that nature. So please reach out. We are more than happy to chat with you about that. As a reminder, HPLN can fund existing and new housing needs assessments, existing and new housing action plans, and then strategic growth and water supply elements of comprehensive plans. So there's many different avenues you can go and apply for. You could also combine any 2 of those elements together in one application as well. Next slide. For Accessory Dwelling Unit Grant Program, or ADUG, this was established by HB 241152. Right now, this grant program just announced their first grant round to be opened in August, on August 1st, and it'll remain open through August 29th. The grant program website is now available online. That link is clickable, and I'm sure that we can put that in the chat as well. And the guidelines are currently being finalized now. So if you have any questions about becoming an ADU supportive jurisdiction, as Hannah has outlined, please email Hannah and or Mitch Hendrick, who is also copied on this slide. And they're happy to talk with you about what it would mean to be an ADU supportive jurisdiction and potentially apply for the ADUG grant program. Next slide. The Transit Oriented Infrastructure Grant, or TOCI, was created by HB 1313, and that is primarily to support TOC governments in creating public infrastructure for TOCs and neighborhood centers. So that grant program is currently creating their guidelines now, and those will be available in the future for public comment. If you would like to provide input on those program guidelines, and you know that for a fact, please let me or Mitch know. We would be happy to make sure that you're included in any further communications about that grant program once those guidelines are available. We anticipate the grant program launching in fall of this year with many more details to come, and we will be sure to communicate those to our entire outreach list, including those who are on the webinar today. Thank you. And I think I'm here to wrap it, or I'm sorry, I'm transferring it over to Eugene, if he could come back and wrap us up.
All right, Ashley, thank you so much for that. It's really great to know that we are able to offer some financial support in the implementation of this really important and meaningful work. So thank you for all the hard work you and Mitch and your team have been doing. So I'm going to try to get us wrapped up here with a couple of quick updates. So some reminders, ways that you can find all the information that's been covered today. We've got so many resources. We really hope that they are helpful and useful for you all. But as you review this material, if there is something that you have a question about or a specific need that you don't see reflected in the resources available, reach out to us and maybe we can work with you to develop even more. So thank you very much on that. Just want to make sure that you all know at a glance all the information that's out and available for you. We've got some compliance deadlines in the future, in addition to the one that's coming on Monday. So really just, I won't go and read all of this to you, but did want to make sure that we shared with you on today's webinar, and then as a follow-up to today's webinar, some of these upcoming dates. So if you want to mark your calendars, or I have to live by my calendar, if it's not in my calendar, it doesn't exist. So we want to make sure that for folks that also are led by their calendars, that there's a way for you to see all the upcoming milestones at a glance and can mark them and track them accordingly. We really talked a lot today about Monday's deadline, but just as a quick recap, for transit-oriented communities, it is a preliminary report. Again, we really encourage you to share information, even if it's still a work in progress, so that we can work with you all to maybe wrap those up or to look for additional exemptions or other things that you may want to leverage and have reflected in that preliminary report, along with any thoughts that you might have around zoning and maybe where zoning might go in the future. But to do that and to have that conversation, we would love to have as a part of the submission a map or information related to your current and existing zoning. I think Hannah did a great job covering all things ADU, so I won't go into any more detail with that, but the compliance report for those who are subject jurisdictions, that's Monday. And then with parking, no requirements, but there is a voluntary report option in the portal. So if you want us to know that you have, in fact, either made adjustments or are in compliance with the parking law, we would love to let you and have a way for you to share that with us. And you can find that optional report form in the portal. And so we've got plenty of other deadlines looming in the future. But again, the previous slide with those milestone dates, and of course, the resources available online can help you track the upcoming deadlines once we get past Monday. Last month, we did spend some time, and we were fortunate to have a representative from the governor's office, John Moore, to kind of help explain and lean into the governor's executive order that was released a little over a month or so ago. So we did kind of go through where we stand with understanding what the governor is asking of all state agencies. Our role here in DOLA is really focused on the land use related items. And so again, the reporting, even the voluntary reporting, it really helps us have an understanding and some clarity around what's happening at that local level, so that as we continue to unpack the executive order and really truly understand more about what is meant from it, other than, of course, encouraging everyone to participate in compliance so that we can address these critical needs. This is all about grant prioritization. And so when folks are seeking support from the state, financial support, we will be, as we get closer to October, working to understand where communities are in their road to compliance with these various laws. So we had a pretty good update last month to kind of help us understand just kind of where things currently stand. And our update for this month is to share with you that online you can find a compliance framework reference. And so as we begin to really unpack the executive order and really try to understand what its meanings might be in communities, we want to make sure that we make that information available to you all. So really would ask that if you do have questions or you have elected officials in your communities asking questions, this might be a good first place to go. So would absolutely encourage you all to check out this compliance framework reference. It's its own dedicated web page. And it's really, right now we're working through definitions. And so we've got some working definitions for what it means to be a strategic growth non-compliant situation, which we hope would be temporary and would be easy to remediate. For those that are in the process, but maybe haven't gotten quite to the finish line, we do have this growth in progress status. And again, this is really all around strategic growth and making sure that we've got plans in place to help promote and support the needs around the state. And then for those that have satisfied the requirements in the law, there is the strategic growth compliant moniker. So we really hope that we get everyone to that point, but it will take some time because we've got plenty of months in front of us before some of those final deadlines are to us. So again, we want to, as we learn more, as more definition and support gets developed around the executive order, we are making that information available because we really want everyone to know exactly where they are and where they sort of sit in this process. So again, it got this information out and available. And we really wanted to point out that while we do send out these slides and we do have these slides as a resource, any official stance on any of the material that has been presented today, the correct reference for that would be the published information that you can find online. We do our best to put really useful information in the slides, but of course we're limited by space and time. So we always encourage folks to go to the source of the information, which you will find online. And with that, we've reached the end of today's webinar. Again, want to thank everyone for participating today. I'm assuming there's probably questions in the chat or maybe in our inboxes, but here's a great slide with all of our contact information, again, for those that are viewing live with us today. So please reach out. You're not at all ever a problem or a bother. We are here to support. And we really welcome and thank those of you who do reach out to us because, again, we learn so much from each of you as we are also engaging with you. So this is one way that we reach out and let you all know kind of what's going on in our department is through this monthly opportunity. But at any time, we would love to continue ongoing dialogue between meetings, between webinars. So here's how you can reach us. I'm going to stop talking and maybe stop sharing. We can stop the recording and just see if there are questions that you have for us or the other panelists today. So thank you very much for joining us. And I will ask the team, because I'm looking at our slides here, if there are any questions that maybe are still outstanding that we need to address from anyone. Any questions out there?
Hey, Eugene, there are no questions in the chat. Oh, we
Yeah.
just got one pop up on the Q&A.
All right.
It says, just flagging that the ADU fact sheet says $5 million is available to local governments, but some of that is for funding admin. And thank you, Kyle, for bringing that to our attention. We will get that modified.
Yeah, Ashley, is there anything you want to share at this time related to that, or maybe this could be a follow-up item?
1.6 is what is in our grant guidelines as they're currently written, although those are still being finalized right now. As a reminder, 8 million is also available through CHAFA for ADU grant programs.
Awesome, thank you. And thanks for that reminder of our partners at CHAFA. Both you and Hannah did a great job reminding us of that. So really know that there's been some interest and buzz out there amongst different communities. And so love that our partners at CHAFA are making some funding available to the homeowner while we are working with all local governments on what we can do to support you on the government side. So